I got my first app approved. It is in the application store. I will share everything I did and the one little thing I missed. Hello, my name is Jorge. I am an indie iOS developer participating in the Shipaton, which is a mobile app hackathon organized by Revenue Cat. In my last update, I mentioned that my whole launch was delayed because I needed to refactor the core functionality of the app. Given my delay, I shifted my strategy to working on the paywall instead of the mascot and the stats. The logic behind all of this is that the paywall is the last piece that I need to have my app ready for submission both to the App Store and to the Shipaton. With my app available in the App Store, I can focus on finishing the pending features for my app. Implementing the paywall was easier than expected. Revenue Cat does not only simplify the process and provides you with cool tools to design the paywall, but also provides cool features like sending custom parameters so a specific paywall can be displayed on your app depending on the context. The way I leverage this feature is to let the user know why they are getting the paywall displayed. For instance, when the user runs out of reminders in my app and they tap the plus button, the paywall would have a specific message saying, hey, you ran out of reminders. If you want unlimited reminders, you can join the early supporter subscription. Preparing for the app submission was its own challenge, but I have everything ready in one day. Here is a summary of everything I did. For the application screenshots, I tried 3 different tools, and the winner was screenshots.pro because the free tier actually gives you something to work with, and the UI was easy to understand in the first use. For the application description, besides the marketing and describing all the cool things your app does, I learned that if your app offers a description, we need to clarify it will automatically renew. Revenue Cat has an article about this, which I will add to the description. The application pricing. Even if you're doing subscriptions, you need to set a price for your app under pricing and availability. This was confusing for me at first because I thought that in this part I needed to put the price I have for my subscription. Turns out I needed to set this price to 0 because my app follows the freemium model. For the website, if you know about my background, it shouldn't be a surprise I used WordPress. I installed and configured the Brixie theme, which is 100% free. I created a simple landing page with a support page that has a contact form and added some additional pages about the privacy policy and the terms of use policy, which leads me to the next section about the application privacy. Revenue Cat provides a very detailed guide on what you need to fill out for your application's privacy. And for the privacy policy itself, I use the App Privacy Policy Generator tool. Last but not least, during my research, I learned it is vital to provide a detailed description of what your application does and share a short demo video so we can make the reviewer's life as easy as possible. This goes in the last section that says attachment. So during my first try, my app was rejected. Here's what happened. I missed to add my application subscription to the version page. The tricky part was that the in-app purchases and subscriptions section would not show up if the subscription is missing metadata. In my case, I was missing a localization string. It turns out that you have to add localizations not only inside the subscription itself, but also inside the subscription group. Once I added the localization string in the application version page, this section to add the subscription appeared. As I was preparing this video, I learned that my application was approved and it's ready to be launched to the application store. If you're curious about my app, check the link in the description below. So my biggest learning with launching my first app continues to be that you need to be okay with the minimum version of everything. I created the best screenshots and website I could in one day. It is something I am completely satisfied with? No. But it is something useful I can iterate over. And that's what matters. My very next milestone is to have basic stats on the application mascot working. And if time allows, I would also like to have an onboarding screen. With all of this ready, I will have a formal launch, which reminds me something I heard during one of the Shipaton webinars, which is that you can launch your app as many times you think is necessary. If the first launch of your app wasn't as good as you expected, you can learn from it and make noise again about relaunching your app. And that's it for today's update. If anything I shared in this video or any of the previous videos was useful to you, motivated you, or pushed you closer to release your app into the world, please let me know in the comments. I am considering a live transmission showing the back end and the configuration I did for the tools I used to submit my app into the App Store. So hearing your feedback would motivate me to actually do this live. I must confess that my first application submission was scary. It's way easier to focus on the code than on the manager side of things. And if you watched until this point, I have something that will interest you. I wrote a blog post about my experience during personal retreats. These are basically 1.5 day breaks from the routine where you can reflect about the last quarter and have a clear direction for the next quarter. Personal retreats changed my life, and I believe they can change your life too. If you're curious, I will leave a link in the description. Next week, I will share how the Shipaton subscription went. Bye bye.